Hey, it's Tiffany at Buchwalter Greenhouse, and behind me you'll see we have thousands of mums growing for fall again this year. These were planted in the beginning of July, end of June, and well, I take that back. They were planted more in June, and they've been growing for all summer, and they're just now, the early mums are starting to crack some color. So I wanted to share with you today a little bit about mums, because I always have a lot of questions every year, and I hope to answer some of those for you. So before we start that, just know that mums are a seasonal flower. They're not something that you can have bloom from spring all the way through fall, like a lot of your other flowers that you may purchase in May. These will bloom for about 4 to 6 weeks. So they do have a window of time that they bloom, and then they're done. There is actually 3 seasons of mums within fall. So there's your early mums, which is what I have right now. This is just starting to show color the end of August. And then we have our mid-season mums, which will start showing color in September and last until the beginning of October. And then the late season mums will start blooming at the end of September and go through the end of October. So rather than, a very common question is, how can I pick out a good mum? And in reverse, I would ask, what would you like to have? Do you want color now? For example, people who maybe have an event coming up, like a wedding or a party, you're probably going to want your whole mum to be in full bloom rather than at this stage where it's just a little bit of color. So in that case, look for the mums that have the most color closest to your event. Like pick them out maybe a week beforehand, because that would give you a good idea of what they're going to look like. If your goal is just to have as much color for as long as possible, then purchase your mums when they're just starting to show petal color and most of the other buds are still closed. So from this stage, you'll have, like I said, about 6 weeks of color. So this is starting at the end of August. It will be in full bloom probably by mid-September, and then finishing bloom by the end of September into the beginning of October. If you want color more for October, then wait until mid-September, which is when we also have our best availability for color of mums as well. Now, another question I have a lot is, if I plant these, will they come back? And the answer is maybe. It's the earlier you plant garden mums, the better chance you will have of them rooting and coming back for you. Now, they're not a very reliable perennial where you can expect to have them for, 5-10 years, but they'll often come back several years in a row. A hardier mum to plant would be an igloo mum. And we have our igloo mums growing. These are in black pots. Our igloo mums are in orange pots. And they are hardy to -20. So those are a very reliable mum that you can plant, and they'll come back reliably every year. And then otherwise, if you're not wanting your mums to come back, use them to decorate your front porch or set them around in your flower bed. If you plant them in a pot, if you take them out of their grower pot and put them in a bigger one or plant them directly in the ground, you're not going to have to water quite as often. You can absolutely keep them in the pot that they've been grown in, but just know that you're going to need to water them every day. So watering brings up another question. How often should I water my mums? And the answer is yes, every day if you're keeping them in the pot they've been grown in. They love water. And it's kind of deceiving, because when you do water them, it'll look like water's just running out of the holes in the bottom, and you think, well, they're done. They have enough water, but the answer is not always. Oftentimes, because they're so well rooted, the soil doesn't absorb the water fast enough. So another option would be to put a dish or a saucer underneath the pot, so that way the extra water will gradually soak up through the base of the plant. I love to put my mums in a little bit bigger pot when I get them, and that extra soil around them will act as a buffer and allow them to soak up more water gradually. Another thing to keep in mind with watering is once they're all the way open and in full bloom, you don't want to get water all over the blooms, because that constant water on the flower does kind of beat them up and cause mildew and rot. So as much as you can, take your watering can and kind of get it in between the plant and pour your water in that way. That allows the flowers to still come out fresh, and without it lessens your cause for disease to occur. The other question was, do I have to deadhead my mums? And if you start with your early mums, you'll see, I mean, these ones that are just showing color now will be finished before these other little ones that are still coming on the inside. So if you do just kind of pop those off as they're done, it allows the new ones to come up through. Just kind of depends on your mom if you need to do this or not. And if you're a low maintenance kind of person, then don't worry about it. Just enjoy them for the season and be done. Send them to the compost pile. No hard feelings. Mums are a really inexpensive way to decorate, and you know, it's think of them like a cut flower. You're going to enjoy them for a season, and it's okay to say goodbye and thank you for a fun fall. So I hope that answers a lot of your questions. I'd love to hear more questions from you. So if you have a question you'd like us to answer, drop it in the comments or send us a message, and we'll share it here on the show.